The ability of consistently getting first bloods automatically puts your team in an advantage. Whether you're an attacker or defender, duelist or initiator, the value is amazing and in ranked is worth the risk. Many people are scared to do what is needed to get the first blood. Many players also believe that only duelists can get the first blood. But the truth is, you want to carry yourself out of your current rank, no matter what role you play. You may need to get this type of value for yourself no matter what role you're playing. In this video, I'm going to teach you how you can get first bloods with every role. So let's get into it. Before we get into any specific roles, we need to talk generally. Your ability of getting first bloods only relies on your mechanical skill by 25%. The big 75 contributing factor to you getting more first bloods is, well, your positioning. For example, if I just chose to take a fight on very common angles recklessly, we are making the odds a lot harder to secure the kill and remain alive. But if I chose to be smart and hold an angle that an enemy wouldn't immediately expect, that would give me an extra second to get the kill and retreat into safety. What's the point of getting the first kill if you're just gonna die right away? So with all the advice that I'm about to give you, just remember, your positioning is the main key component to making all these tips work. Also, as we go through each role for your specific agent, think about the utility that you can use to help you take 1 versus 1s onto the enemy team and come out that fight victorious. So remember, we aren't trying to be like Tens, but more like 100 Thieves Cryo, a player that is more calculated and has more tricks up his sleeve other than being able to flick on kids' heads. For all my duelists, here's what we should do. Similar to any role, your utility is made to help you get more kills or to take space. But for this purpose, we want to get kills. So what can we do? Well, let's say you're playing Raze and we're holding a main. What should we do to get the first blood? I would make first contact to bait the enemies into pushing me. And once I give the enemies a second to push forward, I drop back for a second to throw my grenade. A grenade is extremely valuable in these types of situations because we can divide the enemy team, allowing us to isolate enemies from their teammates to give us an easy 1 versus 1. So once we toss out the grenade, we want to swing the angle just enough so we are able to see the one enemy who is pushed up past our grenade to take that 1 versus 1. If you're a flash agent, it gets even easier. Whether you're Reyna, Yoru, or Phoenix, you can, again, make first contact. Bait the enemies to push up, then boom, flash and get one. For my pop flash agents like Yoru and Phoenix, be careful to show your presence early since the higher in ranks you go, the more common it is for enemies to play anti-flash. With Jett, well, you can just go for one, then prime dash and go for more if you'd like. The cool thing about Jett is that you can use your kit to give yourself some insane one-ways. This is why it's so important to not think about your agent so one-dimensional. You can do some insane tech if you think outside the box. But of course, getting first bloods with duelists is one of the easiest ways to get this type of value in Valorant. So how do we get this with other roles? It's a universal understanding that initiators are supposed to use their utility to help initiate the fight for their teams. But my friends, in ranked, especially in a solo queue environment, we do not want to allow ourselves to fall victim into the supportive role. So be selfish and take matters into your own hands. Let's say we're holding A long on the map Haven. We're playing as Sova. How can we get first blood here? Well, don't think too hard because it's simple. We can dart A main early and then hold an angle on long to kill one enemy. Obviously, there is some risk to this because if we die, it's unfortunate, but this is why we train, so we can win our gunfights and remain on top. You cannot be scared, be confident and take the fight. Just be sure when you take the fights like this that you don't overswing because you don't have the luxury as a Jett in dashing away. Because of this, we need to stay close to cover. So I wouldn't peek wide with Sova. I'd peek close to cover, but I will still peek to get the kill. The same thing could be said with Fade. We can either throw our Haunt or Seize ability and peek off of this utility, or we can even send our dog down a lane and peek off of our dog. But remember, don't peek like a Jett, peek smarter. With the Initiator role, we want to get value from our utility and act on that value. Similar to if we were playing Skye or KO, we can bait the enemies to push on long, then flash and peek. It's pretty easy, don't overcomplicate it. To get impactful first bloods as an initiator, you need to fight. Try not to fall too heavily on the role of using your utility to help your teammates. Rather, use it a bit more selfishly. And yes, play around your duelists and peek with your duelists. But don't just use your utility for your duelists. You should be acting with your duelists. So if you flash or recon your duelist peaks, swing with them to trade, or you can both get two. Now that you've learned how to get impactful first bloods as a duelist and an initiator, how can we get impactful first bloods as a controller freak in Valorant? Pay close attention, because this is the hardest role to find this type of value with. Either you're a Viper, Astra, Omen, Brim, or Harbor, you need to put a lot more thought in how you take fights. I'm telling you right now, with the controller role, you need to be the most gifted in your mechanics and intelligence. If you mess up and die, your team will suffer severely. The first thing that I would recommend learning universally for all controllers are one-ways. This one-way smokes will give you an advantage to get an angle advantage on the enemy team. But the thing is, if you do these over and over again, they will get predictable and it won't have the same impact as it did earlier in the game. So we have to think, besides our one-ways, what else matters? Well, we could position ourselves in an angle that an enemy wouldn't expect, and we could possibly catch a lurker. For example, if we notice that round after round, Reyna is not pushing with her team, go to where she likes to lurk. Put yourself in an angle advantage to where you can catch her off guard. Or if we notice that the enemies love to push a bomb site, make a plan to know where to set up your utility either before or during your enemy's execution onto site. With any of these options, you need to win your gunfights mechanically, but one thing that will guarantee your impact more is your positioning. Do not put yourself in a predictable angle, nor should you play the same angle round after round. We need to be actively thinking. Like I said before, the possibilities are endless. We just need to think, and make sure you do your research on your agent, because this will help you better think. Outsmart the enemies and be skillful enough to execute your plan. Now, it's time to get into my Sentinels. Ladies and gentlemen, how can we get impactful first bloods as a Sentinel? Well, same as controllers, we need to use our brains. You will find value and impact through your setups and utility. For example, if we're playing Killjoy on the B bomb site on Ascent, either on attack or defense, no matter the side, we want to place down your turret to take first contact and then peek off of this piece of utility. It's incredibly easy. If you're doing this by yourself and you need to buy yourself some time in order to safely place on your turret, use your swarms to delay the time. They last for 5 seconds. Players in Valorant don't like to wait, so trust me, they will push you after your swarm has run up. Just think about where your turret is positioned. So if you chose to swing at the right time and angle, you'll do great. So give it a shot, guys. And remember, fight, fight, fight. Now, no brainer, for Chamber, it's incredibly easy. You're basically like a jet, but with a TP. So just get your one tap and get out of there. But for Cyphers, what can we do? Oh, I know. Let's study Nats. On both attack and defense, he combines his camera with his cage to get first bloods. You can use your cage as a way to close space or as a safe haven for yourself. Then put your camera in a spot where you can tag an enemy, and once the enemy has been revealed, kill them through your cage. I'm telling you, this method is unstoppable, especially if you combine it with a piece of recon. So just remember, to all my Sentinels, your setups and utility is number one. Study pros to learn how to use your tech, and you will get crazy value from this knowledge. Again, to every role in Valorant, the reason why first bloods are so impactful is because it gives your team the initial advantage. Whoever gets the first advantage has the highest likely chances of winning the round. The more rounds we win, the closer we can expect to win the match. For those of you who are too scared to follow the advice in this video, think about it. You're trusting that your teammates will not make any mistakes in the round to not give the enemies a first blood advantage. Personally, I don't trust my teammates. So rather than leaving it up to chance, I want to take this advantage for myself to guarantee the advantage for my team. But if you feel like you aren't good enough to get first bloods, take a look at our repositioning guide next, so you know how, where, and when to position yourself to maximize your impact in game. See you there, everyone.